Hello and welcome to another episode of A Dram with Friends. We are excited to welcome Anthony Klosterman to the. Did I say that right?
You said it
To the
perfect. Yeah.
pub. Uh, welcome to the pub, Anthony.
Hey, Sean. Thank you for having me.
So I pulled out. If you were here, I'd get you to taste the Kirkland 15 Highland Scotch malts. It's very nice. Kirkland, they get their product from the bigger names normally, so they've always got a good product when it says Kirkland on it. And what are you gonna have?
So, bought from Costco, but it's not Kirkland. It's the Buffalo Trace, just straight bourbon.
And as I said, yeah, a dram's not a lot. I it's only supposed to be an eighth of an ounce, but I rarely get that little in a glass because
How do you?
I I need it's hard and to have it last for the entire episode as well. Uh, so Anthony, for those that don't know, who is Anthony Klosterman?
Well, starting off, beloved child of God. I'm blessed to be married to my wife, Lauren, for 17 years, coming up this spring. We have 6 children here on earth, 3 in heaven interceding for us. Uh, I've really focused on what I teach my children, how we kind of craft a lifestyle for them that reflects God's love for us. It reflects God's creativity, and so that's probably my biggest passion is living that out with my family on a day to day basis. We have a little hobby farm. You call it a gentleman's farm if you like, in southern Missouri. Just
Okay,
20 acres, just enough to be a little bit dangerous, but you know, not enough to be on Bill Gates' radar.
yeah, and I'm guessing you can grow things in Missouri.
You know what? Right now, what we've been growing is rocks and thistles.
Oh,
So not the best start, but we've only been here for a little. We're looking forward to more. We're raising chickens right now, something we have some experience in already. And then we've kind of sectioned out a garden space. We had the chickens clear a garden space for us, and we'll do some work on that and start growing a decent garden for our family.
that's awesome. Yeah, it sounds a lot like my daughter and her husband Josh. They they're out in BC and they had chickens and a big garden and some they get some pigs and raise them for the season and they've
That's on
done
my
some
radar.
lambs. Yeah, so they're I can connect you and
Oh, I
uh
would love that.
they
I'd
can
love that.
help. They're sounds very similar and they too one of the things you touched on about having 3 in heaven, Kelsey, our daughter, had 4 miscarriages and
Mm,
that's an area I think our church can do some more work in
100%.
in
Hmm.
that process because it's a huge loss for the family and especially the women that are carrying these child, right? So she actually had tattoos done for all of them, so and she was never going to get a tattoo but she decided that was the way to do it.
Sean, it changes you. You realize that you're built for something. You're built to, be able to bring life into the world, and then when that happens, it changes you. It you no longer take for granted the gifts that God's giving you, the gift of your children, the gift of their life, and absolutely. So I understand some of that pain of what your daughter and son-in-law have experienced, and you're absolutely right. There's a lot as a church that we can do to stand shoulder to shoulder with those people and really care for them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting like you talked about being that example for your family, and you've taken that into your work.
I
And
have.
one of the things, can you tell us about what you do for work?
Absolutely. So a few years back, I got involved in, or prior to COVID, I got involved in small businesses and entrepreneurship, and more from a sales perspective, building a sales team and helping to grow revenue for small mom and pop businesses. And that turned to Catholic entrepreneurship a few years back. I started to work with Catholic business owners who were seeking more, seeking community, uh, more importantly, who wanted to become saints in their vocation as a business owner, um, and to not lose their soul in the process of building their business, but to draw closer to God. So I am blessed to be with His Way at Work. We are a Catholic nonprofit based out of Atlanta, but our team is all over the place. And our mission is really to equip business owners, um, to bring God into their company, to make God the center, and to really pursue eternal value in that. So it's a unique vision. When you think of business, you think of all the ways you can grow financially. You think of all the ways you can increase efficiency. But we are challenging business owners who are Catholic to pursue the long game, to pursue the really long game, the eternal game. What does God want for the souls entrusted to their care? And it's been a blessing to be a part of that. It involves multiple steps, but that's in a nutshell what we're all about.
Yeah, and that's awesome because so many of us men think these are two separate worlds. That yeah, I go to Sunday mass and I'm Catholic Joe, and then on Monday I'm working Joe, and the two don't cross paths. But I, in my line of work, did see opportunities to live my faith as a law enforcement officer
Mm.
without preaching, but by example. And at times opportunities came up to discuss a little deeper when they asked, like, what makes you tick? When I worked with youth at risk, and it gives you the opportunity to say, well, I do it for a higher purpose, right? So how successful have you been in reaching companies in this manner?
Great question. We're now a worldwide organization. We're in 12 different countries, and we've helped thousands of business owners to consecrate their company to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Um, Hundreds of companies we've guided through coaching and community to live out the church's teaching in their business in the way they run practical day to day things. Um, it's little things like what's the language you use for your employees? Are they just human resources, or do you view them as persons, right, made in God's image? And how do you change the way that you do business to honor that humanity, right, of the people who work with you and work for you? And it's inspiring to see first, the business owners who are saying, this isn't mine, this is God's, and going through and consecrating their company to the Sacred Heart, and then taking it seriously and wanting to live it out and asking questions and really diving into, um, do I give a witness to my baptism? Do I give a witness to who I am as a Christian? And it's it's not always an easy it's not always an easy reflection. It's not always an easy thing to do because
Yeah.
we're all fallen sinners, and in a world where profit is important. Building a financially successful business is important. How do you do that in a way that truly honors God? Um, it's easy to cut corners, and it's easy to really put profit first.
Well, and it's also helpful for people to understand, like you talk about profit, that you need to make profit so you can hire
Mhm.
people, so you can give them a living wage, so you can support them supporting their family, and that's what we talk about. And to do that with godly principles has to be extremely rewarding. uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Without profit, there is no business. Um, and the question really is, am I going to do this with just Christian flavoring, right? Am I going to just run a normal business the way the world does, and am I going to just sprinkle some Christianity on top, or fundamentally, am I looking at this differently? And that's the challenge that we place to business owners is, what's your purpose? Why does your business exist? Does this exist for you? Is it for your own glorification? Is it just for the profit that you bring, or does it exist to glorify God? And if it exists to glorify God, how do you put that into words? So we guide them to put that purpose into words. How do you share this with others? Right? You might have people who work with you, for you, around you, who don't believe in God or don't have that father, that relationship with God the Father that we're blessed to have. They don't recognize that relationship. How do you paint for them a picture of what you're trying to do in your company in a way that's attractive to them, that makes them realize how much you love them and how much you seek to care for them? And we go further than that. The values that you're living out, what kind of behaviors or actions are necessary in order to achieve those values and to live out the values that you have within a company. So we try to make sure that we're not staying in the land of abstraction. When we talk to business owners, we're challenging them to go deeper, to really look at the practical application of their faith in their work. And to your point, it's a huge blessing to combine the kind of the challenges and the enjoyment that comes from building a business, um, but to do it with others who know that you care about them, to do it with others who now share some of the same values with you because they recognize these values are beautiful. These are good things, and it unlocks greater support too, right? When you're a Catholic business owner or any business owner, and you manage to get the people who you work for recognizing that you care about them, you've built that goodwill that's sincere. It unlocks something in them. It unlocks this discretionary effort, this desire to do more for you, to do more for the company, for their fellow employees, their coworkers, their families. It kind of unlocks something there, and so
yeah,
I think that's maybe part of what you were hinting at there when
yeah,
doing it the
and
right way.
that's interesting. Well, like our there's so many examples where when the employees feel valued and they're part, you create a family basically, and they're part of it. We get our sausages every year for our men's conference from Spalumbo's, and I went to high school and with these guys, and great guys, and they're raised good Catholic Italian boys, and and they're so generous with the community, and their employees seem to stick around forever in that. And it's it's the way you treat people. They're a prime example. And when you were talking earlier, I was thinking that it's a lot harder to get these principles in today, where it's not that long ago. Like right now, everybody, oh, Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays. What do you mean? Like who does business that way? And where here in Canada, I think it was 1984, it was a business here in Calgary that challenged the Lord's Day Act, where you weren't allowed to be open on Sunday. And so we're talking a pretty tight window. Like nobody was open
Mm,
on Sundays. Nobody was open like Christmas Day. That's just nobody was open, right? Where
yeah.
now there's an expectation that you're open all the time, ready for business, and what does that do to your employees and their lives? And so uh, I want to congratulate you on going down this road.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, you raised an interesting point. It used to be that in many ways culture was supporting this kind of thing a lot more, right? Your society at large was much more supportive of small businesses or even large businesses that upheld the values of the community and that supported, say, a family.
Yeah.
And this is now maybe you could say easier than ever to do. It's easier than ever to start something that brings value to people and to be able to find an audience or a customer worldwide who will benefit from it. It's there have been very few times in history where it's been as accessible to bring something valuable to others in the marketplace. But at what cost are we building businesses aware of those principles or aware of those values in our community? And you mentioned your friends from high school. It's a beautiful witness there that, right, retaining employees and caring for their community. They see their business as part of something bigger, not just an end in itself.
Yeah, yeah, and they're great to work with, and yeah, we're very blessed to have them as a in our community. Like I went to another men's conference where you know they were serving Subway sandwiches. Nothing wrong with Subway sandwiches, but when you compare them to what we get from these guys, you're going, holy mackerel, are we ever blessed? Like,
Well, now
if
I'm
you're ever in
looking forward
Calgary,
to it.
go to
Yeah.
Spalumbo's.
Well, Sean, I guess I'll get to taste Palumbo's. I'm planning to be up there in March.
Okay,
Uh,
well,
yeah,
do you do spicy or are you a mild guy? Because our
I'll I'll go spicy, Sean. Go big or go home here.
okay, so we're still arguing on the name of them. It's either Tongues of Fire or Terror of Demons. So it's
Ooh,
but yeah,
I like
it's
Terror of Demons there, right? It's a
yeah,
bit of a purging of spirits and
yeah. Well, it's cheddar jalapeno with some of the peppers that Robert Tunmeyer grows in Waco, Texas. There,
his name's
and
actually Tonguemeyer. Then you've got to do Tongues of Fire.
yeah, yeah. So, and then we're gonna go with this year. I think we're gonna go with the mild as porchetta herb. It's very nice, very nice.
Mm.
I had to do a taste test here recently so that but we'll have to come up with a name for that one. So
This is a very fitting Fat Tuesday conversation. If we were having this tomorrow, I'd be a little bit in a little bit of a different mood. I'd be a little bit
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm glad to hear that you're coming to Calgary. This is awesome. Awesome news. So are
Yeah,
you?
no, there's a business owner there in Calgary, Catholic business owner who said, "I really want to encourage business owners, in our province to consecrate to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, particularly people I know around Calgary. We want their businesses consecrated to Christ, and he wants to introduce me to a number of them. And he's also, very supportive of the God Squad conference and wanting to be there. And he said, "Why don't you come up for that? Why don't you come up to be there?" And two of us will tend that together. So
That's
really,
awesome.
really looking forward to that.
You're gonna love Bishop Scott McCaig.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You won't leave disappointed.
Wait, is he the
And
one that rides motorcycles with you?
yes, he is. Yes, he is. So
Okay.
yeah, it's so we're very blessed to have him, and I think you'll quite enjoy the whole conference and the Spalumbos, and you get some
Mhm.
Tim Hortons in there as well. For
Now I am familiar with Tim Hortons growing up in upstate New York,
there you
but
go. Okay.
this will be my first Calgary visit. So
Oh, really? You've never been to Calgary?
I've never been to Calgary. No, I've Niagara Falls area and Toronto, I think, is it for me.
So you're going to see
Very
some
limited.
mountains. You're going to see some mountains, and
Looking forward to that.
hopefully you're here for a little bit. So we'll talk offline as to see when we can connect, and that's awesome. What? So you farm in your spare time. You evangelize. What do you do for fun with in the
Yeah.
neighborhood there.
What's interesting is farming is kind of the language that ties together where I live in the Missouri Ozarks. I mean, people who aren't even don't even consider themselves farmer have been farming for generations with their family here. Um, that's we we spend a lot of time outdoors. In the summertime, we have a river nearby that's great for kayaking and floating and swimming. Great swimming holes and bridges or cliffs to jump off of. And we get a nice long summer here. I was living in Western New York. Our summer was 2 months long, and you know we get from end of May through into October here. Um, it's already spring. You know, we're February 17th. It's spring already in the Missouri Ozarks. We do a lot of hiking. We try to get together with a lot of the families around here. Games and board games. That's on the family side. More personally, I enjoy building things. I enjoy developing, a skill around a challenge or a project, whether it's something useful for the farm or just something for fun, like a swing set for the kids. And I never settle for something simple or a simple kit. It's always, we can do this better. We can do this bigger. Something that serves
Hmm.
our needs better. And that's probably my biggest hobby. In fact, the house that I'm in right now, I general contracted that and did
Oh, that's
most of the
awesome.
interior work with my boys. We did all the electric together and
That's
managed to
awesome.
teach my 13-year-old son at the time how to wire up all the lights. And I told him, I said, every single time someone turns those lights on, you get to experience some pride that it turns on, that it actually works. So it's been a cool thing.
I did a lot of that with my boys because I could have worked extra shifts. They call them pay duties up here
Hmm.
at concerts and stuff as a police officer. Made good money, but I opted to do handyman work like building
Mm.
decks and fences and all that kind of stuff with so that my boys could come along with me and help and learn. And we've done a lot of work around this house too, and so that's awesome.
You can't
And
replace it. You can't outsource that, right? Like
yeah,
that's yours to give and nobody else's. It's a great opportunity.
and then for the weather, yeah, we had spring summer temperatures for the last month, but now it's snowing and gonna hit something like minus 26 tomorrow, or
Goodness.
so it's getting cold. And we hit plus 19 Celsius there the other day, which is like I think 66 Fahrenheit,
Mm.
which that was a week or two ago. And
See, that's what I'm used to here. I would not expect that for Calgary.
yeah, we have a thing called Chinooks, although I don't know if that was exactly a Chinook because it was warm for quite a while. And so we can get that. And the weather, when you come, just be prepared for anything. We could be plus 20, we could be minus 25, we could, and these are Celsius. And then yeah, it can change. And we can get snow 12 months a year here, like we've
Yeah.
had, but we can get hot too. So
I'm making note, right? God enjoys playing pranks on the people of Calgary, so be
yeah,
prepared.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's the if you don't like the weather here, wait 5 minutes is the common saying here.
Sure.
So and so with a family, is there a dish that you like to that
As a dad
keeps,
to prepare.
yeah, the
Oh man,
dad's dish that
there used to be only one. I used to make like this rice and canned salmon and cheese dish. It was like the only thing that was mine. My wife didn't make it, only I made it. But over the years with multiple pregnancies and and then finding more joy in it too. If work was stressful, um, I would gladly step in and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to make something. Um, but I always enjoy grilling meats. I've got one of those big Blackstone grills. Recently, I had a Weber back in New York, and now I've got one of those big Blackstone griddles, and mine's so large. I mean, I can cook. food for the whole family for 2 days in one go. You know,
Yep.
vegetables, and you could do like 30 burgers and a whole host of veggies on the side. And I like the efficiency of that. Just add flavor and add food. And
Yeah, we just we got one for our barbecue outreach, and we just did a early Shrove Tuesday last Tuesday where we did pancakes for 150. So
yeah, comes in handy.
so
I've done
yeah,
that, pancakes and bacon on that thing.
yeah.
Absolutely. No, I've cooked a lot of different things. We my wife's a master of soups and different salads, but particularly, soup. I let that be her domain. I never get the flavors right. But chili, meatloaf. I do a great Italian roast, like a roast
Mm.
beef. So I've got the seasoning figured out just right, at least for our tastes, and um, can't go wrong with that.
And you could probably get some locally sourced meat. So
Hundred
are
percent.
they? Is it all corn fed down there, or can you get the
No,
grass
no.
fed?
This is actually a cool thing about the Missouri Ozarks is that there's not a lot of commercial farming because the hills are ridiculous. This is the last place if we ever have future enemies seeking an invasion, this is the last place they'd want to invade. I mean, there's no quick way to get anywhere. You're just winding around turns and up and over little hills. None of these farms are efficient in that regard. So people out here are raising grass, cattle almost solely on grass. They might do some grain finish. A lot of sheep. There are some pigs, not like the Carolinas, not a crazy amount of pigs, but sheep and cattle for sure. And find a lot of friends who raise meat not intending to sell to others, but they'll sell it to you at cost as a friend, and it's it's a much better experience than what we had in the city, right? Living in the city and trying to find good food is a much more difficult
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. I hear you. That's good. Yeah, and there is something rewarding about sourcing your food from your garden and from your neighbors, and just because you know where it's been, you
You
know,
do, yeah.
and it always seems to taste that much better.
Absolutely. And you never feel, when you live in a place like this, you never feel like you're going to go hungry. Not only are you raising your own food, our chickens are now to the point where they're finally feeding, our family for breakfast. It's an exciting time.
Yeah,
My kids were coming in with, you know, oh, we just got our first egg, or, 2 per day, 5 per day. I think for a while we were sitting at 6 eggs per day. And then now all of a sudden it's been, nine, and then 11, and then a dozen yesterday. And today it's already at a dozen. And, the kids are still looking for eggs. So it's exciting when you get to a point like that where you realize we're not going to starve no
yeah,
matter what happens in this crazy world of ours. And then we have friends who we barter with, and who have life skills. They can teach me how to put in a fence the most efficient way to fence in my property. Right? They've got all the tools for that, the augers and things like that for fence posts. Um, and neighbor right next door has a decent backhoe, and we'll exchange work. I'll help him with something on his shop. Help him put trusses on his barn, and he comes and does backhoe work on my property. And it's just great to do these things between neighbors, and there's no government involved in this. There's no exchange of money that requires taxation. It's just, hey, I'm going to help you out, and later on they offer to help me out.
that's awesome. Yeah, that. So my daughter, her chickens were laying different colored eggs. Do you get any?
Oh yeah, yeah. We made sure to get those Easter eggers that we get the green and the blue and pink colored ones, as well as the brown eggs, some that are almost white. Yeah, we made a point for that. My kids wanted that.
Yeah, and I think it's heritage birds, if I'm not mistaken, or yeah. So that's so as you know, many men are isolated, lonely, and I'm asking my guests this season as to what did what wisdom can you give to men, especially younger men?
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah. This is I'm glad you brought this up. This is a topic that I've been discussing with other men in particular. I've been sharing this with my wife too. It's the current epidemic of loneliness and isolation. What makes it worse is that a lot of men feel like they didn't have much time or much of a relationship with their own parents or grandparents. It's very rare for there to be a multi-generational household. When I grew up, it was very rare to be in the same state or the same city as your parents and grandparents, and to be able to absorb those relationships and wisdom, and really kind of marinate in that, the beauty of those things. No, not everyone's relationship with their parents or grandparents was a good one, which is actually part of the problem. I think
yeah,
divorce and marriage issues and family issues and abuse, I mean, those wreck people's experiences, and you have to rebuild from that and heal from that. But I'd say the wisdom that someone shared with me, it was actually my dad and I were talking. He mentioned that I can't remember what it's called. There's a form of memory, of recalling. It usually has to do with like a skill that might be passed down from generation to generation that you can lose entirely, and then you have to figure out a way to regain that. And the example that's given often is a cat, right? You see cats that get stuck up in trees. It's really rare for a barn cat who's raised with its litter or with its mother to get stuck in a tree. There's a generational. Someone figured it out at some point, and it's then passed down from one to the next, one cat to the other. How do you get down out of a tree? But if you have your pet cat, uh, little Fluffy, is an indoor cat and goes outside and climbs up a tree, has no clue how to get down. Well, here we are, a generation of men, many of whom don't know how to get down out of a tree.
yeah,
And it feels very isolating. You can feel very stuck. But I think the beauty of it is there are a lot of men who are willing to impart that knowledge, who've been there, who figured it out, or who are in the process of figuring it out. And you, as an individual man who's living in this isolation, you have something to give. You have experiences to give that you've received that you take it for granted, that others are waiting for as well. So how do and this is actually the hard part, how do you get together and find out how to learn from each other, how to impart not just knowledge, but wisdom, right? The prudent application of that knowledge. And I think that's the tough nut to crack is, but I think it's helpful to know others are in the same boat as you, and struggling with a lot of the same things. Um, and that there's men like you, Sean, who are seeking to do something about it, who are trying to say, hey, you might be stuck, but you don't have to be stuck. And there are people around you who are, themselves working on getting unstuck. We can do that together.
well, and that's one of the things we've got going right now. We're trying to get men to sign up for our heroic 30 challenge, which is to renew men, and it's wisdom from 31 different leaders from across North America, that you get daily, like a daily dose of wisdom with a challenge to go with it. And I don't know what diocese you're in, but Calgary's winning, just saying, and Canada's way ahead. So
Well, I think we should take you up on that challenge. We're in the Diocese of Springfield, Missouri. We're the southern third of the state. Um, so yeah, give us a chance here. We'll bring
all
it.
right, well, it's up to you for that diocese. I'm looking after my own, and I think Canada's going to take home the gold in this one. So
Fighting
uh,
words, fighting
yeah,
words.
yeah, and in the men's hockey too at the Olympics. Just so you
Oh
know.
well, we got to give you at least one. You know,
But I don't know if you know, but the Gaelic term for whiskey is Ishkabaha, which means water of life. And I pray that you continue to lead many souls to the true water of life in your future as you walk with the Lord. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you, Sean. Blessing to be here.
Thank you for joining us in the pub for this episode of A Dram with Friends. Go to heroicmen.ca to see what we do in this mission, and you can donate there to support stuff like A Dram with Friends. Please like and subscribe on all your YouTube and podcast platforms to help us grow our audience. Thank you. God bless and have a great day.